I'm personally excited for the
You
sorry,
good?
sorry,
Welcome to
I
your
hit
daily
okay.
dose. You good?
Got hit okay. Got hit okay. Got to agree with it.
There you go. Welcome to your daily dose of dopamine. This is Robert, and I'm here with Lori. And Lori and I have been chatting off camera. We're ready to go. All things about World Parkinson Congress. Lori, many people know you from your past work. At how many World Parkinson Congress have you been to?
I've only been to one, but it was life
It,
changing.
okay, so I thought you've been now. Which was it? Was it Barcelona you were at?
Barcelona, yeah.
Talk to me about why it was life changing for you.
Because first of all, I was traveling that far. I didn't think I could do it, but I did. We did. My husband went with me, and it was a game changer for him as well. Honestly, he was because he didn't want to go. He's going. He would flat out tell you that he was going to go, but I thought he'd be in the corner reading his book or playing on his iPad, and just let me go do my thing. But I was with PMD Alliance, part of that team that went and helped with the support group, leader lounge, and that kind of thing. But my husband ended up embracing the care partner part of it. Like they have their own, he had his own thing. He went and did his own thing. We'd meet together sometimes, but most of the time he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing. So it wasn't overwhelming for him, and I think he got to meet people that he got to be just unapologetically himself and be like, you know, sometimes this really sucks being married to her, you know, because he wouldn't say it to me, but it's okay to say it to others that are feeling the same way, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and it was good for me that he did that, and I think he kind of learned a lot about me that I don't always have the ability to tell him. And he could say a lot of things about how he's feeling that he couldn't really share with me.
That idea of finding your tribe, of being able to say the thing you think is only you, the unspoken part, and the freedom we feel when we recognize we're not alone. That's one of the
Yep.
massive opportunities at World Parkinson Congress
Yes.
because of the number of opportunities. Yeah.
And the other thing is like you have a voice. Like
Hmm.
I was sitting at the table next to Boss Bloom, who's like one of the leading researchers, authors, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like I mean, granted, my I don't think my husband was as awestruck, but I'm like, that's you know, like I'm pointing, and going, oh my gosh, you know, and like one thing that really stuck with me is the round tables we did because they were
Yeah.
really small. They were limited to like 8 people, and I did one with a physical therapist from Italy, and first thing she did when she sat down, she was like, I'm here. Which one of your patients? And we like raised our hands because we were in there with like top researchers and whatever sitting at our table, but she's like, I'm here for you first. So whatever you want, we talk about first. And so it was was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
That idea of being heard, being seen, being cared about. I love what that
kind of
PT
puts you on
did.
equal footing. Like I didn't feel like they were better than me.
So you
Even
bring up
though these are
something.
brilliant minds trying to fix me. Not fix me,
There you
correct
go,
me.
right? So many of these conferences, I feel like you're exactly right. They end up being, person on the stage tend to be the credentials and, and that the audience tends to be the people with the needs. And there's this kind of awful divide as opposed to the social aspect. And that's what I found too, because Barcelona was my first and only,
Yeah.
but it was dripping with opportunity to meet people the way they wanted to be met on equal ground, as you
Right.
say. And people from leading folks like Boz and Ray and Michael,
Right.
right? Who were just, yeah, they're there saying, no, we're just people too. I mean, we happen to
Right.
do this, but we're just
Right.
people. And that's the attitude that unfortunately maybe in daily life we don't always feel with the
Right.
constructs of doctors' offices or conferences that
Right.
are set in traditional means.
Right.
So I see all those things. Let me ask you from a social aspect, what are you looking to do at this WPC coming up? Are you, obviously you've got your ticket, you're going to go to other
Right.
things, but is there anything you're like, no, I learned this in Barcelona and here's how I want to handle my 2026?
Um, I don't think so. I think they did things a little differently this time. There's not as many choices. I found myself. I mean, I'm a volunteer, there's an ambassador this year, so I kind of instruct. I have like assignments, but there was so much to choose from before. It's like almost I felt like it was peanut butter. I spread myself so thin, but I didn't really spread it enough in one place.
Yeah.
So they're giving you limit. I think they're having bigger sessions with limited less choices, which I think would be a good thing because my brain was like I want to do this, I want to do that, but you couldn't do it all. You had to pick what you were going to do and stick with it because if you tried to do everything, you would be burnt out in the first day.
I think that's a great note, and I felt that in a wonderful way, kind of the positive overwhelm, but also, I, to me, the mental health and the physical checks were, where I stayed in Barcelona, I found this wonderful little hotel. It's right across the street from the beach, And every morning, I made sure to go either take a walk or a jog. And there was a public gym right there at the beach.
Oh,
And I would make sure to do those things, right, to keep myself sane. We can get to these conferences and you get in, to the building and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed by stuff. It's like you still got to pull back and see where you're at. And for me, seeing Barcelona was really important.
yeah, I did too. We stayed a couple extra days.
Good. So
I
you
went
got to see
fishing.
some of this. You got to see some of the city.
Oh yeah, we went fishing and we ended up in like a real small village up that we thought. I'm like, oh my gosh, no one knows we're here and they don't speak English. We're in big trouble.
And you managed, right? I mean,
We managed, and yep, we managed.
right. So Phoenix, obviously, very different in that regard. Everyone
Yeah.
speaks English there.
Yes.
There are a number of things. I've been to Phoenix many times. I really enjoy it as a
I've
city.
never been, and I've always wanted to. It's been on my list, so
It's great. Well, I'll tip one thing to you. We're planning. I don't know when you're getting there, but Sunday, the Arizona Diamondbacks are. It's the last game there in town. If you're at all a baseball fan, trying to let people know and work something out with the Diamondbacks. That
okay.
we're
My
gonna have.
husband already has that on his list of things we're doing.
It's great. There you go. So
Like the
yeah,
second weekend, right?
it is. It's the Sunday before it starts.
Oh, okay, you're doing it then because they're also in the next Sunday, I think.
Are they okay? Because I know they go. They
Sure.
go out of town on Monday. I don't know how long they're out of town.
Yeah, because I think we were going to try to do it then because I didn't know what Sunday brought and if we
Yeah.
had any activities on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, we were definitely so whatever sidebar. We're definitely interested in that, but
Good.
we're
No.
doing the
Well.
Grand Canyon.
Oh, got to go to the Grand
Obviously, I
Canyon.
can't hike and do the things that I want to do at this point, but I you adjust and you adapt and do it differently. That's all.
Well, you get spectacular views that are extraordinarily walkable without having to do the whole down into the canyon,
Yeah, we're
extraordinary
taking the
thing.
train,
Yeah, that's great.
taking it from up and back, and then staying 2 days and we're taking it back or something.
See, that's the kind of thing I think people don't think sometimes in an event like this. They only think about the conference, but the tangential things that promote your life, that's so important, right? Not to just
Yep.
be all about Parkinson's.
Right.
What do you do to say, here's the whole life of Lori, who's who I am, that's not Parkinson's, to support your well-being, your joy? What do you do?
Um, Well, I'm kind of working on that honestly because I've been, I've had some physical struggles and
Mm.
mental struggles the last 2 years almost basically. Um, so I'm kind of coming back into that kind of almost re-identifying, rebranding myself again because I don't want it to be 100% Parkinson's all the time. So I'm trying to write more for other things and that kind of thing. But it's baby steps. I mean, because it's been in my life and been basically ruling my life for like 11 years now. So.
Well, that's it. So you were diagnosed about 11 years ago. Can you talk at all about your trajectory? Like you said, what you felt?
I will honestly say I have had Parkinson's for 10 years or 11 years now.
Okay.
I feel like I just got Parkinson's. First 10
What?
years, 9 years, I didn't coast. I mean, I worked hard. I
Right.
exercised every day. I was a personal trainer. Like, da, 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 da. You wouldn't have known I had Parkinson's. Now I feel I have Parkinson's and I sometimes look like I have Parkinson's. And that really, it's frustrating, but it is what it is. So I can either go again in the corner and suck my thumb or I can try to figure out where things are.
Your story's pretty common. One of my good friends and co-founders of my nonprofit, Yes and Exercise, Susan, is telling me similar stories right now that about 10, 11 years in where she is, she's just going, oh, wait a minute. She's almost felt like she hasn't had it this
Right,
because
exactly.
she's been
I feel like
dealing.
I've been kicking its butt now. It's like, okay, it's my turn.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like, no,
this
no,
is
no.
it's one of the traps of Parkinson's in the early stages. I think my dad was similar in that regard that he was diagnosed 2001, and it wasn't really until about 2014 that we really started looking at, wait a minute, we're going to have to actually make some real changes here because things were suddenly progressing a lot. So yeah, that was 13 years in, and it changed the tenor of how we lived. And it's not bad. It's just like you said, it's an adjustment. It's different.
Yeah. And it's also hard for other people because like they never saw me as a person, but like when they looked at me, it was
Right.
like they didn't treat me like a person with Parkinson's, and like now I'm kind of like, well, you kind of have to now. Like I'm not the same person. Like even with taking care of my old aging parents and my brother and my sister, I'm like I'm not the same person I was even a year ago or 6 months ago. I'm like, I have to think about my health, myself too, as well as everybody else's health around me.
So one of the traps of that early, stage that a lot of people
The
go
honeymoon
through.
phase, they say, call it.
Yeah, and there's that term,
You
right? It's
don't like that term
controversial.
because it's not a honeymoon. It's by any
It's
stretch.
not.
It's
It-
basically just like it's like you're kind of like a frog in water. They turn it on and it's like, the water's warm and then all of a sudden the water's boiling. You're like, Shh, how'd I get here?
Yeah, right. That's an unfortunately good metaphor. So the idea, what becomes, what are we going to do with it, right? And I know that the story that gets told when people only look at the first 10 years, because there's the initial shock, and then if you have a relative grace period, of not having huge symptoms people see, they'll start going, well, it's not that bad, and they'll kind of either forget about or try to pretend that the future's not coming. But the future is coming. PD is undefeated in terms of its progression rate and what it does. And if this is where, to me anyway, we need to sound the alarm to go, stop saying it's not that bad. Stop saying it's not going to progress. It is for everybody. I mean, no one gets better cured than Michael J. Fox. And
Right.
he's out thankfully talking about how difficult things are. It doesn't mean not poor me. It's not pity. It's just
No.
the reality is we need more research. We need more money put into this.
Right. And we need to figure out how to prevent it.
For sure.
I kind of figure at
Absolutely.
this point in my life, I'm doing the Vialev pump and it's recommend it's if to FDA approved and stuff like that, but it's very new and I almost feel like I'm doing this for the future generations. So if I get a benefit out of it, it's great. I almost feel like anything I do now, I'm going to be like, okay, I want to be on the advisory committee. I want to make it better for the next generation because it's a bonus for me, great, but I want to be able to still say I'm doing something for the next, hopefully to either eliminate it from the next. I would love to be the generation that says we got rid of it, but or at least stop it, whatever you want to say. But
Right. That's where Ray and Michael are with all of their work in particular. I mean, it's like, let's call it what it is and allow it, the realistic natures of what's driving the number of
right,
cases we're seeing and cut that off.
yeah,
Then we can medically deal instead of just having people continue. I mean, the number of people being diagnosed is growing exponentially, just like they've told us it would for the last 10
right,
years. And,
yeah.
I don't know what it's going to take to get people to hear it, except raising our voices and really just making us think about this.
Right, and I mean, at some point, like when we were in Washington, but basically when we started our talks with our policymakers, we were like, do you have it, and are you connected to Parkinson's in any way? Has Parkinson's touched your life? If they said no, we're like, give you like 3 months, 4, 6 months. There will be somebody in your life that has
Yeah.
Parkinson's. Because I mean,
Well,
it's just growing. It's just craziness how it's growing.
yeah, and then you meet one, and then all of a sudden that person has three more, and all of a sudden you're networked, right? And I mean, the other problem is a lot of people closet, and understandably so. Not everybody wants to be out in front and talk about their Parkinson's for job reasons, for
Right.
family reasons,
Right.
relationship reasons. It can be very stigmatizing to
Right.
admit
For as
that.
progressive as our country claims to be, we're really not in some respects.
Oh no, no, it's not safe to say you have a chronic illness. It's just not.
No.
Can you talk about that, the stigma and how people treat you when you tell them you have Parkinson's and maybe what that feels like?
Um, well, I always call it like the puppy dog eyes. Like, and I'm like,
Mm,
stop it. I'll pluck her. Stop it. Don't look at me like that. I mean, now you can maybe because I've been struggling for the last 2 years, but for the first 10 years, I'm like, don't look at me like that. But um, it's what I found amazing is like I do not use I don't have to use an assistive device for walking, but I bring one with me when I'm going to be crowded, like we go to a concert or something like that. And it's amazing how people treat you differently when you have one of those.
yeah.
So I'm like, you should just be kind to people regardless of if I have a cane or not. Like why does it take a cane? I mean, so that is a good maybe a good stigma. They just assume that you're disabled and they'll help you, which is great. But I also like think that they like if I like I force myself with my anxiety, my homework is to get out there and do things. So I forced myself to take something back at a store, and I literally was at the grocery. I was at this department store like this, trying to get this stuff to this woman, and she was like scared of me almost. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have Parkinson's. I'm having a panic attack right now, but I have to do this.
Right.
And she was just like,
Well,
so
that's a side of Parkinson's that's just so misunderstood or not understood at all, right? The psychosocial emotional side, right? The things that
absolutely. I think it's
people
more debilitating than the physical stuff.
right? And people will look at the tremors and go, "Oh, she's just having shakes. It's physical." It's like, no, under the surface, I'm freaking out right now. And again, how do we raise awareness toward that, and that well, I mean, I'll say from my standpoint, it's a large part of my work is trying to do that, right? To give
Mhm.
people emotional awareness and intelligence to do what they need to do to share in a comfortable way, but also to broadly share with others, like you said, this is not just a motor disorder.
Yeah.
They're,
It's not a
you
movement
know,
disorder. I think they're doing it just doing everybody a misjustice by calling it a moving disorder.
talk to me
Movement
about that, the emotional and psychosocial. How do you handle that, sharing that with people, and what do you do for yourself? Because I think you have to, my opinion anyway, you have to armor yourself a little bit to be even more empathic than others because they're not going to get it. So you have to give
Right.
people grace for them not getting it, I think.
Right. Right. I just kind of explain it like, you know, everybody's struggling with something. I just actually know what I have.
Mm,
And a lot of people may have anxiety and don't even know they have anxiety, but I know I have an anxiety. Like I know it's going to pass. I know it's going to go away. But in those times where I'm panicked, it's awful. And like, just, if you see somebody that looks like they're in distress, they probably are. Like if you're out in the world, like just let them take a breath.
yeah.
Like, if you're behind them in the line, or if you're behind them and they don't respond correct way in the first 20 seconds to something. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing with me. Like when I'm in a line and people like get upset with me because I'm slow, and I just want to turn around and say, you know what? So, but
I remember that with my dad. You know, he doesn't get out the same way. He's wheelchair bound at this point. But when he first started using assisted movement devices, which it took him a while to use, he was very much against using them because, as he said, he didn't want the attention. But
right,
the conversation we had was, I said, Dad, you're going to get more attention for stumbling or freezing without an assisted device because then people think you're in trouble than you would if you have a walker or a cane or whatever it is.
right,
And, you know, getting him to, when I would see him, for whatever reason, doorways were a thing. I know a lot of people with Parkinson's struggle with that, the actual,
yeah,
path between. And that's where people use the lights or music or different cues, right, to sometimes unstick the neurology that freezes in that place. But it made me so sad in public spaces when, because people they want to come in and out, they've got their own agendas, and my dad might be blocking a doorway because he's frozen there. And
right,
I'd have to gently tell people, just give us a moment, please, and people were generally good, but there were times they weren't. And,
right,
it's hard to, like you say, to bite your tongue and go, we're dealing with something here. And I
yeah,
promise you, whatever you're dealing with, if you could work around it, because it's not going to get better by putting pressure on us or criticizing or
yeah,
stigmatizing.
yeah, and like, and like the other thing is, like, I have a accessible parking tag, and it took me a really long time to get one and admit that I needed one. And to me, it was kind of like I was giving in to the next phase of the disease or whatever. But then I was like, I put myself in my husband's shoes. I'm like, I'm making things we do harder for him by being too proud to get a tag. And I didn't notice that when we traveled, and it was just like, if you don't have a thing on there, the concert doesn't care that you can't, you're not gonna have a problem. So
Right. And I love what you said about seeing it through your husband's eyes, right? That, you've got your personal pride, which is valid. You've got, your desire to, the feeling of the pitfall of if I give in, am I giving in,
right,
right?
am I
As
losing my
opposed
independence?
there it is. And that's the word my dad comes back to all the time. He's flatly said if he can't be independent, he doesn't know if life's worth living. And he has had these series of, I'll call them insults from Parkinson's that have taken pieces of his independence away, whether it's driving, his ability to golf, being wheelchair bound at this point. I mean, we've had to go as far as put him, what do you call it? A seatbelt around him because he keeps trying to get up. And we're saying, Dad, here's the places you can walk and here's the places you can't because, I mean, he fell and hit his head and got 5 stitches recently, and that was a lucky fall
Right.
compared to what it could have been. But independence, talk to me about what that means in terms of importance and how you view it at your stage of.
Well, because I'm at that stage where I don't want my husband to be my caretaker, and just like I want to be my husband,
Mm,
my care partner. But caretaker is getting a little harder to swallow. But it's also the reality of what it is. I mean, that's what he is. And like, especially now, I'm doing this treatment that is very difficult to do by yourself. I
mm,
mean, I would find it difficult to do by myself. Um, So he's had to, be my assistant. What do you want to say, nurse, for that, which I don't think he ever planned on, but he's doing great.
Yeah.
And he's doing a lot more things that he never really thought he would be doing, and I'm doing a lot. I'm a lot more dependent on him than I ever thought, and that terrifies me.
So,
Terrifies me if something would happen to him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't be by myself.
Lori, I apologize. I'm going to pause for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Just hold on.
Okay.
We're back. I apologize for that. I just had a dog that got stuck under the deck and was barking at something. I don't know what it was,
Oh,
but
poor thing.
we got her out. We were talking about changing roles. Your husband becoming something that he didn't think he was going to be. More. I think you used the word nurse, feeling more nurse-like toward you. Is that
Or
right?
yeah, like I was considering my care partner, not my caregiver.
Mm.
But now he does more of a caregiving role than I ever wanted him to be at this stage in the game. I think sooner than I always knew it would happen, but I didn't think it'd be this soon.
That's a really interesting line between there because there are people who are very strong about no, I'm a care partner, and there's others who say, well, no, I'm a caregiver, and the distinction in that caregiving thing is a dramatic shift. I mean, I could say in my parents' life, they've been married 59 years. It drove my mom out of the house. She just doesn't have it in her to be a caregiver, and we have AIDS, and I mean, in the last couple of months, my mom and dad don't even live together because she just struggles so hard with the number of needs my dad has, and seeing him struggle the way he does. So it's acute, and I don't think people think about it that way. And their story is not everybody's story. I'm just giving one
Right.
example, right? And that line between care partner and caregiver.
Right. Yep. It's just so that part for me is frustrating because I'm a fiercely independent person. And then I'm kind of in that thing where I've been watching what's going on with my parents and evolving with my parents. I'm like, oh no.
You said fiercely independent. That's a wonderful phrase, and it really does speak to your heart in the little I know you. And it just, why do you consider yourself such, and what does it mean to be fiercely independent?
Well, I guess because I'm the mother of all men in my life, and I'm the mother of three boys. I was kind of like, I'm not going to have that daughter that's going to run. So I've been always fiercely independent, and it just I don't like to be dependent on other people for my daily ADLs, my event activities of daily life. I mean, like all these acronyms that you hear is like, oh, now I know what that means. Like, oh,
Right.
okay, now I understand how that, why that's difficult and why that's important to you when you're newly diagnosed, but not as important to you now. And now it's more important. Like, do I have things planned out? Do my kids know what I want? You know,
Yeah. And do
am I
do
going to have a
you
person that's going to advocate for me?
right? Do you feel like, I mean, do you have a support group or a local tribe that helps as you've been managing this part of where you're going right now?
But yeah, I mean, because I actually facilitate quite a few groups, but I did have someone come up to me and they kind of walked me out to my car. One of the care partners, givers, whatever, and she said, "I know you're struggling right now, and you think like that you're really not giving us anything because I'm not always like my 100%." But she's like, "You really are. What you're doing, you're really helping us, even if you're only at 75%." So
Right.
that kind of meant a lot because she's like, my husband's such a very private person, but he saw someone on a cruise that had Parkinson's, and he's like just started talking to him about things, and she's like, you affected both their lives, and you don't even know that other person. So
Yeah. And you mentioned being a facilitator, and that was the first thing I was going to go to. Is there somebody coming to you? And it sounds like this person did, because often, especially when you are the fiercely independent leader type, you're like, well, I'm handling it because I'm handling it for others. But who's helping you handle it, right? Is what it
yeah,
gets back to.
yeah.
And I'm glad this person was there for you, and I hope there are more people that
Well,
are.
it's kind of funny because like I did reach out to someone who is local here, and I kind of trained him a couple times, but he's like we never really were. What do you want to say? Close, I guess you could say, or I don't know. I don't know, but either way, I knew he was a good person. He's got a great blog. He's got a podcast. He's going to the WPC, and I was like, he's got a really good attitude, and that's my problem right now. I need my mindset to change, and I need help changing my mindset. And I called him or texted him. I said, "Hey, would you mind meet me for coffee? Because I don't really have a mentor, and like, would you?" And he was like, "Sure." So I met him for coffee, and we talked about things and cognitive behavioral therapy and all that good stuff, and reframing negative thoughts into positive thoughts, that kind of thing. So that's been good. And we're going to meet once a week and make goals for ourselves. And because it's important. I mean, you can think that you have it all together, but you know what? You really don't. I learned
I
that. I
I
really
love
learned that.
that.
I needed
Yeah.
people. So,
I need people. I heard you say. That's great. That's, my word of the year is vulnerability, and it's hard to admit. It's hard to come to. I tend to be more independent in that regard too, and admitting we need help is hard. And to hear you do that here is very gracious of you, and I'm very thankful that you'll allow that.
yeah. So,
Well, I'll say this, as you're looking out, maybe if you feel like it, I know I mentioned to you before, come play with us at the Jam for Joy or Improv. It's a bunch of good people who will get you right away. Will love you, and it's everything's on the psychosocial emotional side because that's what we're about. So
right.
if it fits, we play twice a week. We'd love to have you come play with us.
Maybe check it out.
We love that. Well, look, I'm going to see you at the World Parkinson's Congress. We'll be in touch before then. Baseball is an opportunity and some other fun things. I can't thank you enough for the time today. And you reach out anytime, Lori, okay?
Yep, yep. Thank you very much. I hope your dog cooperates the rest of the day.
She'll be what she'll be.
Which will be, that's right. All right,
Take
take
care,
care.
Lori. All right, bye
Bye.
bye.